Hello dear students. Today I am going to explain about the simulation lab tool next part. Till now we have discussed about the history of the Scilab under simulation tools lab, and after that we have learned about how the Scilab works as a calculator. So these are the basic operations we have already discussed, how we can install the Scilab. These are the help instructions of the Scilab, how we can access the help command and how we can work upon this. These are the different features of the Scilab which we have already discussed. Scilab window will be seen like this, and these are the different kind of windows we can work in the Scilab. Arithmetic operations, all these operations can be performed inside this Scilab, just like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. All the basic operations can be performed, and besides left division, power and power as a double star, these can also be used. Single quote can be used to transpose a matrix. Then we have learned some of the basic commands, and using Scilab as a calculator we have learned how to add, how to subtract, how to divide, and how to perform the basic operations of the Scilab. Then we have learned the basic elements of the Scilab. That means how Scilab can act as a matrix, and how it will work on real number, complex number, Boolean integer. These are the basic things. We have touched all these topics in my previous lecture. These are the predefined variables. As you can see that I, which is used for the complex number, and its value is I equal to under root minus 1. And in case of Scilab, this number will be used by using percent sign before this sign. Likewise, the pi, e, EPS precision, infinity, nan, s, z, t and f, all these signs can be used by just presiding the percentage sign just before it. This is the difference between MATLAB and Scilab in this case, because in the case of MATLAB all these options can be directly used, but in case of Scilab all these options can still be used, but we have to use the percent sign just before it. Some useful Scilab commands, we can use clock command. If we use clock command, then the current date can be displayed. The current time can be displayed, and in the similar manner, if we write the date command, that the current date can be displayed there. And these are also the basic command who can be used to list the variable which in been used currently, whose same a who, but it provide more information like what is the type, what is the size of that particular variable. Who name is, it is also a similar kind, and it will also provide the name of that particular variable, what clear, xyz, and for clear screen CLC will be used. CLF, if there is some figure being drawn, then we will use CLF command to clear our window. diary command to store and list all the working in the diary file. Diary is a kind of text file which, if we open at the start of our work, then the diary will store all the used command, all the used work inside it, and until it will store all the command until it will be closed at the end. So these are the basic command which we can use in the case of Scilab. If we want to see what is our present working directory, then we can use pwd command. All the data, all the file will be stored in this present working directory, and if we open a file, then it will be accessed from the present working directories. So it is the most important directory where the Scilab actually work upon. If we want to change the directory, then we have to give the path so that we can access that particular directory, and we can set the present working directory as that directory. If we want to copy the file, there is also the option given in the Scilab, copy file. It is the command which can copy the file content from one file to another file. Likewise, make directory, just like in DOS operating system, here also make directory is the command, and we can make the folder inside our present working directory here. So these are the very important command which makes the Scilab very beautiful and very strong language. And if we want to quit the Scilab, quit command is there, and likewise exit command can also be used for quitting the Scilab window. Now I am going to discuss the array, vector and matrices from this lecture. So I am opening my terminal, and Scilab, as we have seen, for clearing the window I will use CLC command here, and after that my whole window will be cleared. My present working directory, I want to see my present working directory, it is C user asus document, and I want to change my present working directory. Therefore I am going to that particular directory which I want to set upon, and last time we have set a directory Scilab book exercise as my present working directory. Last time I have set this particular directory, therefore this time also I am using this particular directory here as my present working directory. Now my present working directory, as we can see, that is Scilab book exercise. Now in this lecture I will be discussing the array and matrices. So first of all, how to create a single dimension array. First of all, I will learn array and matrices. This is my purpose of this is taking hash as a particular command, and no worry. So first of all, let us take a variable a, and I want to create a row vector. So a is the variable equality, and suppose 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. These are the numbers, and we can see that the row vector is displayed here, and all the content of the row vector is stored in the variable a. Okay. Likewise, suppose I want to write the same vector in this form. Suppose I am writing the same vector as 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, comma 10. In this way also we can write the row vector like this also. So we can easily see that the row vector can be written like this one and like this one also. Now, the next thing is that how we can represent the column vector. So, for the column vector, we will use the semicolon. If we use the semicolon, then the Scilab will consider the next element as in the next column. Suppose I am taking B as the column vector, and suppose I am saving my all the things just like 1 semicolon 2 semicolon 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. These are the elements, and if we execute it, we can see that all the elements are being stored in the different columns. So it will be said that it is a column vector. So in this way we have seen that how we can write the column vector as well as the row vector here. The next thing is that suppose I am writing A equal to 1 to 10, 1 to 10. So in this way also we can create the array. We have given the range here, and we have created the row array. Suppose I am writing the same thing like this, 1 is to 1 is to 10. In this way 1 is the first element, 10 is the last element, and 1 is the gap between two alternative elements. So let us see what happens. The same thing will be displayed here. Now I am writing 2 in place of this middle one. So A equal to 1 is to 2 is to 10, and here we can see that all the alternative element can be displayed here. That means 1, after that gap of 2 element, after that gap of 2 element, after that gap of 2 element. So the middle element is representing the gap between two alternative elements. So in this way these things can be written. Now the next thing is that we can start from the higher element to the lower element also. In these two examples we have started from the lower side to the upper side. That means the array is the increasing array. We can also set up a decreasing array. Here for this purpose A equal to, suppose the first element is 100 and the gap is suppose minus 2, and I want to come up to 50. So we can see that from starting from 100, gap is 2 element and we came up to 50. So in this way from the lower end we can also write the array in the decreasing order. We can also write the complex number in this way. Suppose A equal to 2 plus 3i. I want to write 3i. So in the Scilab, for the multiplication we have to use star, and for implementing I we have to write the percentage marks. So in this way we can write the complex number here, and we have seen that A is stored with a complex number 2 plus 3i. So likewise we can write the complex number also in this case. We can add, multiply and subtract all the operation inside the array also. Suppose I am writing 2 array. Suppose I am writing B equal to, first of all I am explaining the sum, subtraction, multiplication etc. in the case of complex number, and then after I will go to the matrix operation. So A is storing 2 plus 3i. Likewise, I am taking another complex number, and suppose this complex number is 6i. So 6 star percentage I will be used here, and therefore 0 plus 6i is the next element. So let us see C equal to A plus B answer. C equal to A plus B answer, undefined. Okay, here there is a mistake that I have not written equality sign here. So C equal to A plus B. A is small here, it is case sensitive language, and therefore we have to take care about this thing also. So here we have seen that 2 plus 3i and 6i, 9i total. So this thing is right here. Likewise, we can apply the subtraction also. So for A minus B, 2 minus 3i, 2 minus 3i, because 3i minus 6i, that means minus 3i. So in this way we can write this one also. If we want to multiply, then what will happen? Let us say A star B, and we have find that the answer is the multiplication, and minus 18 plus 2i is here. So in this way we can multiply, subtract, and do all the operation inside the Scilab for all the complex number also. Now the next thing which I will explain is the sum of the basic operation inside the row matrix and the column matrix also. Suppose I am writing the row matrix as A equal to 1, 10, 25, 50, and suppose 15. These are the my row matrix, row vector, or row matrix, whatever you like to say it. And B, suppose I want to sum all the element of this row vector. So B equal to sum of all the element of A. So if we write this, then we have seen that all the elements have been added. 15 plus 50, that means 65, 65 plus 25, it is 90, 100, and 101. So in this way we have calculated the sum of all the elements of this array. Likewise, we can calculate the mean also. Suppose I am taking the mean by using mean command. I will calculate the mean of all the element of the row vector, and in this way the mean will be calculated here. C equal to 20.2. If we add all these elements and divide by 5, then the mean will be calculated, and in this way the mean will be calculated here. Suppose I want to calculate what is the length of this array. So for this purpose, length command is here. What about A? So length of A is 5, and we have seen that there are 5 elements inside the array, and therefore the length of this array is 5 here. Suppose I want to know what is the maximum value inside the array. So for knowing this, I will use the max command, and max inside the array A. So maximum element is 50 here, and therefore 50 element is displayed here. Suppose likewise I want to calculate the mean element. So in the same manner mel command will be used, and 1 is the minimum element here. I want to calculate the product of all the element inside the array. So suppose product PROD will be used, and product of all the element inside the array will be used, and we have seen that if we product all the element, then we can see the element like. Now I want to know what kind of element inside, whether it is positive number or the negative number. So suppose sign. What is the sign? Sign of A. So sign. Okay. I think there is a spelling mistake. sign of a, okay, the spelling is SIGN, it is the sign cos वाला sign है ये, so sign A, and all the elements are the positive element of the array, and therefore the result is 1. 1 means the positive numbers. Okay, if there would be, suppose I am taking a simple array, suppose x, suppose I am taking x, and x is having some of the negative element like -2, suppose 3, suppose -4. Let us see what is the output of sign command. So suppose sign of x, let us see. So we can see that first element is the negative number, so -1 is here, second was positive, and third was negative. So in this way we can know what is the sign of the particular element inside the array. Now I want to know the location of the element, how it is being formatted. So I, suppose I am taking I for this purpose. So find is the command, and number A. So we have seen that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In this way all the element is being located inside the array, first, second, third, fourth and fifth. So all the elements are located in the increasing order inside the array. Now suppose I am taking another array, suppose I am taking P as the array, and some of the element I am taking as the decimal number. Suppose I am taking 1.4, and second element is suppose 2.5, likewise third element is 1.1, and fourth element is 7.5. So these are the elements which are inside the array P. So all the elements are this. Now I want to use the command fix command. Suppose I am using the fix command. So what will be the output of fix command? Let us see. So we can see that the integer value is written here. In 1.4 the integer is 1, in 2.5 the integer is 2, 0.1 integer is 0. So only integer part of the numbers are written by using the fix command. Okay. Now two more command, one is ceiling and one is floor. Let us see what will be the output of these two commands. Suppose B equal to floor of P. So as we know, floor command will be displaying the lower side of the integer of any number. So here we can see that lower side integer for 1.4 the lower bound integer is 1, for 2.5 lower bound integer is 2, likewise 0.1, 0.1, 7.5. So lower side integer is this one. If we want to know the upper side integer, so we will use the ceiling function, CEIL, I think spelling is right. If we want to use, if we use the ceiling command, we can see that the actual number was this was the actual number 1.4. So the upper side is 2, for 2.5 upper side is 3, 0.1 upper side is 1, 1, 7.5. So in this way we can use the ceiling function and the floor function to know the lower side and the upper side of the value. So in this way we can use all these value. Okay, so CLC, I will use CLC here.